Streaming right now. Let's see, you should see it in a few seconds if you're on the YouTube page. All right. All right, for anybody that's logged in early, this is the JSS Happy Hour. We're going to start right on the hour. Until then, enjoy some videos.
The mysterious life of developers has been incomprehensible for a long time, until now.
Yeah, there we know. I'm trying to be smart, so I bought my
developer. This is the cliche developer, which can be spotted by the conference t-shirt and the pale skin. The main source of nutrition is a black carbonated liquid which is devoured in a large quantity. This separates him from the more rare hipster developer observed here. This species only drinks warm liquids based on expensive spices and beans, and his only tool is a so-called Macintosh. The hipster developer will often refuse to work with tasks such as SQL databases or Java.
My Zoom
Notice
is
how this
kind of a little bit frozen
of the
when I...
attached to his portable Macintosh. For many individuals in the herd, it is considered prestigious to not utilize this unit at all. The herd all work together towards a common goal, a goal set by the project owner. When the project owner is present, the developers often hide digital images of cats from their screens. The mere presence of the project owner implies danger to the herd, and their suspicion is justified. The developers are now rushing to find the problem. Everyone wants to be first. This one seems to have a fix ready. If he can be the one to first push to Git version control, he will be the hero of the day. Oh, seems like another one fixed it as well. And he pushed first. Fascinating. Victory. This developer has gained the approval of the herd and can go to lunch with a smile on his face.
All right, and for those of you that have shown up a few minutes early, welcome to JSS Happy Hour. This is Dave Shepard. We're going to get started in just a few minutes. Until then, we just have a couple of videos we're showing just for fun. Hope y'all are doing great, and we'll be starting right on the hour.
बेटा ये रिमोट रिपेयर करके देना, ये मिक्सी भी रिपेयर करके देना।
कंप्यूटर इंजीनियरिंग की है माँ, इलेक्ट्रिशियन नहीं हूँ।
तो
This is Agarwal, our lead developer, and he'll be available on call 24/7. Won't you, Agarwal? Say yes.
Yes.
He knows a lot of languages. Agarwal, go.
C, C++, Java, Ruby, Python.
What about front end? He's a quick learner. सीख लेगा वो, right? Agarwal, say yes.
ऑन साइट कब जा रहा है तू? अरे शर्मा जी के बेटे को देखा है? यूके, फ्रांस, स्पेन, अफ्रीका हर जगह घूम के आ गया। और एक तू है, अभी तक साइबर सिटी के बाहर ही नहीं निकल पा रहा है।
पापा मैं इन्फोसॉफ्ट में नहीं हूँ, मैं स्टार्टअप में डेवलपर हूँ।
अरे यूजर को और बटन चाहिए तो दे दो ना, तुम्हारी शर्ट से थोड़ी जा रहा है।
सर ऐप स्लो हो जाएगा।
क्वालिटी कस्टमर्स वेट फॉर क्वालिटी सर्विस।
While we are at it, why don't we develop the next Uber for mattresses, Netflix for soft toys, eBay for plants, Facebook for pets? What do you think?
सर जी, कोई ऐसा रास्ता बताओ ना जहाँ लाल बत्ती ना हो। आप इंजीनियर हो ना? सर जी छुट्टा रहने दीजिए ना, आप तो लाखों में छापते होंगे, आप तो इंजीनियर है ना?
So the client deadline is a little unrealistic.
हैकाथॉन्स के टाइम पे तो 2-2 घंटे में एप्स बना लेते हो हैं।
2 दिन लगते हैं।
तो तुम भी लो ना। Do it by the end of tomorrow. GitHub से source code उठाओ, Control C, Control V. Say yes. Say yes.
अरे 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 बेटा सुन तो, जरा मेरे सचिन को भी ट्यूशन दे दे। इसे भी आईपैड का बड़ा शौक है, प्रोग्रामर बनना चाहता है।
Dude, Saturday night stag entry भी है, चले?
Yeah, I'm coding a road safety app this weekend. अगले हफ्ते देखते हैं। It's a pothole aggregator man.
भाई Tuesday मूवी टिकट्स पे 1+1 ऑफर, चले?
भाई working on a software that detects and deletes pirated movie torrents. संडे चलते हैं।
भाई संडे
घर आजा, सिलिकॉन वैली बिंज वॉच करते हैं।
Time has come to quit now and do your own startup. It's a go-no-go decision. Stay hungry. Stay foolish.
10 साल से आप फ्रंट एंड का डिजाइन बना रहे हो, खुद क्यों नहीं खोल लेते स्टार्टअप?
Karma, bro.
मूर्ति started his own startup in Chennai. सीरीज ए फंडिंग भी उठा ली है और हम यहाँ इनफाइनाइट लूप में अटके हैं। अपना वो 2% का जूनियर बाला, he got retweeted by कुणाल बैल and कुणाल शाह।
अपना काम कर ले प्लीज। Just can't find the memory leak on this page.
So turn on the profiler in the debugging console and see which method is making the most object allocations. चले अब, everyone's waiting at the hackathon.
Hi, I'm Shiv from Filter Copy. So Sequoia India's annual hackathon is happening in Bangalore on September 10th and 11th. So please register at sequoiahack.com.
And please share this video with all the engineers you know and keep watching freshly brewed content on Filter Copy.
All right, hope y'all are doing well. Welcome to the JSS Happy Hour. We're going to get started right on the hour here. Until then, we're just going to be watching a few fun videos. Hope y'all are doing great and enjoy the videos. We'll start right on the hour.
Art director, creative leader, idea astronaut. The classification of UX designers is constantly evolving. This example might seem like a new and trendy breed, but this is in fact an old school UX designer. Notice how the wallpaper on his Macintosh says Comic Sans, but the artwork itself is not composed of that particular font. This is considered funny by his peers. This specimen has unfortunately fallen into a state commonly known as pixel paranoia, as he is contemplating whether this button should be here or there, or there. This kind of aesthetic compulsory behavior that separates him from the UX architect. This peculiar being spends most of his time reading reports, which enables him to answer any question with a reference to a theoretical study. An unfortunate side effect of this obsession is the lack of certain other skill sets. A crucial moment in the lifespan of the UX designer is the usability test. This is where all the hard work can be rendered useless in a matter of seconds. One wrong move from the user and it's back to the drawing board. Disaster has struck. This designer will have to face a demoralizing process of coming up with a better solution. Devastating. If you spot a UX designer interacting with common human beings, it is likely you are witnessing a ritual known as a workshop. The workshop consists of a small separated pack, writing as much as possible on sticky pieces of paper. This is often followed by the pack decorating the walls of their current habitat with these vibrant colours. Why they display this sort of behaviour, no one knows. These rituals often include awkwardly choreographed exercises assumed to enhance creativity amongst the tiny pack. result is a quite extraordinary display of human behaviour. Only time will tell how many viable ideas, or maybe yet another creative job title, will come out of this act.
All right. Hi, everybody. This is Dave Shepard, and welcome to JSS Happy Hour.
It's raining tacos from out of the sky. Tacos, no need to ask why. Just open your mouth and close your eyes. It's raining tacos. It's raining tacos out in the street. Tacos, all you can eat. Lettuce and shells, cheese and meat. It's raining tacos. Yum, 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 yummity yum. It's like a dream. Yum, 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 yummity yum. Bring your sour cream.
All right. Hope y'all are woken up now. Welcome to JSS Happy Hour. We're going to go ahead and get started for today. Let me tell you just a little bit about how this is going to work for those of you that aren't that familiar with JSS Happy Hour. Here's what we usually do. We have 3-minute videos. We like to keep them short and sweet that tell you a little bit about papers. Then we're going to have our great panel give a little commentary on each paper that we present. And then we may have something like a little interview or a question to ask y'all right here on Mentimeter. And we're going to repeat that. I think it's about 9 times today. Got some great papers lined up for you. And we're going to start right now and ask you a little bit about what is going on with y'all during the pandemic, just to kind of loosen up the crowd. So I want you to get logged in right here to Menti. This is menti.com. This is how you can be the star of the show today. Menti.com. The code is 97369373. For those of you that have never used Menti, all you got to do is go to menti.com and put in that code 97369373. Share some strategies for staying sane during the pandemic. And we're going to help each other out today. Make sure that we all have some great strategies for staying sane. Cycling is a great one. I've done a bit of that for sure. More coffee, probably good. Sports, excellent. Playing the piano badly. That's probably good for you, but bad for your family. Who says we have stayed sane? That's definitely true. Lots of walking, lots of running. This is a good strategy if you can swing it. Washing hands. I'm not sure that helps you stay sane, but it probably helps you stay safe. All right, these are some good ones. Hopefully, you've picked up a few new tips here and also learned how to use Menti, which we're going to use throughout the session here. Video games. Excellent. All right. Thanks for the great input. We're gonna be asking for your input a few times throughout the show here today, because we want to share our ideas with everybody. But one of the things we're going to have is we're going to have our panelists, and they're going to comment on some of the papers here. We got some great panelists lined up today. Let them introduce themselves. Here they are. We have Xiao, Kelly, and Paris. How about Kelly? Do you mind starting off and introducing yourself?
Sure. Hi, I'm Kelly Blinko. I'm from the University of Auckland. I have to admit, this is actually not my first happy hour of the day. It's 10 p.m. here in New Zealand. My research is on collaborative software development and human factors in software engineering.
Awesome. And Kelly must have gotten started early, I guess, on her happy hours. And Shao, how about, do you mind introducing yourself?
Yeah, hello everyone. This is Xiao Liu from School of IT Deakin University in Australia. I'm based in Melbourne, so you can see actually from my background is CBD, the photo for Melbourne. My research area is really in the engineering for distributed system and also human-centric requirement engineering. And I also would like to share that I'm secretly running the WeChat platform for JSS. And I just checked, we already have more than 300 subscribers. Yeah.
That's awesome. Thanks a lot for doing that. And Paris, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Sure, thanks, Dave. So I'm Paris Avgeriou. I'm a professor of software engineering at the University of Groningen. I have to admit, this is not really what I wanted to be when I was a kid. So I grew up in this Greek island, and every family there owns an olive farm. So that was supposed to be my destination as well. But sort of something happened during my early adult years. And instead, I ended up becoming a software engineering professor in the Netherlands, of all places. And every time a grant proposal gets rejected or a reviewer two shoots down my beautiful paper, I just, I keep wondering about my life choices.
Thanks, Paris. That was Paris who accidentally became a professor. Doesn't happen to too many people. We're going to go ahead and get our video started right here. This is our first video. It is Requirements Engineering Challenges and Practices in Large-Scale Agile System Development. Let's take a look here.
My name is Eric Knaus, and it is my pleasure to welcome you to a 3-minute pitch for a topic that my colleagues and myself have been very passionate for many years now. This talk is based on joint work with Rashida Kasauli, Jennifer Horkoff, Grisha Liebel, and Francisco Gomes de Oliveira Neto. When I started with this work in 2014, in my very first interview, an automotive software team lead told me that we don't do requirements anymore because we are now working agile. And still, here we are. In fact, we claim that for continuous and agile systems engineering, requirements engineering is a core competency, and it is very, very difficult to master. Requirements engineering is challenging by itself, but whenever large-scale agile methods are applied to systems engineering, we see a very special set of challenges. These challenges are not sufficiently covered by scaled agile frameworks, and they are also not covered by traditional requirements engineering approaches. They apply both to companies that transition to agile and also to those that already work in a fully agile way. Our research provides a comprehensive overview that allows to identify holistic solutions and that charts important areas for future research. In our overview, we arrange challenges in 6 areas. These areas include shared understanding of customer value, shared understanding about the system, support for change and evolution, representation of requirements knowledge, the design of requirements-related processes, and finally also challenges about the fit to the organization, for example, the bridging of plan-driven and agile aspects of system development. So why do we think that this research is interesting to you? Well, first of all, we believe that this map of challenges that we provide here is also providing a shared language that allows to discuss this neglected and very important area of systems engineering. If you're working in industry, for example, in a systems engineering company, you may want to use this map for process improvements. And there it is really important, we have learned that from our partner companies, to not over-optimize one area at the expense of another. If you are a researcher, you may want to use our classification of challenges to focus on open challenges, to evaluate proposed solutions, or to contextualize your findings. In summary, our research is based on data from 7 large systems engineering companies, 20 interviews, 5 focus groups, and 8 cross-company workshops for validation. For each of the challenges that we find, we also list practices that were either proposed by our case company or by the scaled agile frameworks. We also list the current research gap from our perspective. You're welcome to contact us to learn more. Of course, we also encourage you to take a deeper look into our papers. Thank you.
All right, and thank you for getting us started. If our panel would like to go ahead and give us their opinion on this paper.
Yeah, great stuff, Eric and colleagues. I think this kind of work helps to debunk the myth that agile processes, even in their scaled form, are sufficient and they cover everything. No, they don't. Sorry. If you read this paper, which I really recommend you to do, you realize that especially requirements engineering is way more complex and multifaceted and cannot be addressed just by using SAFe or some framework like that. And ultimately, everything is a trade-off. You focus on one aspect in your requirements engineering process, you might really neglect others.
Yeah, that's a really great point, Paris. And I think I really liked Eric's point about how, it's common that people think requirements engineering isn't needed in Agile and you can just skip that part. But I looked at the paper and I think there's an amazing set of research gaps that the authors have identified. So I think it's a really good resource for those that are wanting to do research in requirements engineering in Agile setting to really go and look and start plugging up some of these research gaps so we can do better.
Awesome. Thanks so much, guys. Now, one of the things we want to do in between presentations is we want to either show you a video or we want to ask you some questions. For this one, we want to introduce some of the editors that are working so hard behind the scenes of JSS. And the way we're going to do that, we're going to introduce you to some of our editors in these very quick, what we're calling 30-second interviews with editors. I hope you enjoy this one. You can meet one of our editors. In fact, I believe this is our editor of the year. If I have the right Alexander, let's check it out. Meet one of JSS's editors. Here we go. Hey, this is Dave Shepard, and welcome to 30-second interviews. What is your name?
Alexander Hatzigeorgiou.
Name 3 JSS editors.
Gabriele Bavota, Fabio Balomba, Alexander Serebrnik.
What is your favorite title of a research paper?
Cloning Considered Harmful to the Power of Two by Michael Godfrey.
What is the best research, advice, or talk that you have ever seen, and why?
Jonathan Maletic, Sainer 2020, on their efforts developing SourceML. Best key message for me, building the right tool with a single purpose in mind and the right amount of fun can lead to great results.
What is your favorite journal?
Harvard Business Review. Sorry, I'm kidding. JSS.
Describe an exciting research project of yours.
Using language understanding models to identify low-level technologies in code commits. We call that artifact-based skill identification.
Thank you. Bye-bye. All right. Hopefully you learned a little bit about Alexander in that very intense 30-second interview. It's good to get to know some of the editors that are handling your papers a little more personally so you can, see that these editors are people too. All right, we're going to head on to the next paper. Here we go on the cross-rec paper.
Hello everyone, we are Fong, Yuri, Davide and Massimiliano. Here Yuri speaking, then I will present Crossrec, a recommender system to support software developer by suggesting third-party libraries. When creating a new software system, developers do not reinvent the wheel, but rather seek available libraries that suit their purposes. In such a context, different dependency managers, for instance Gradle and Maven, as well as many library repositories consisting of millions of artifacts, are available to support their task. In a nutshell, we work towards the request for appropriate answer for the questions: which third-party library should I first include in my current project? Let me first introduce collaborative filtering. Collaborative filtering techniques have been conceived in a commerce domain to recommend products based on the following assumption. If users agree about the quality or relevance of some items, then they will likely agree about other items. To this scope, collaborative filtering techniques aim to calculate the missing rating by taking into account a set of items rated by similar customers. By relying on this assumption, we developed Crossrec. In a typical usage scenario of Crossrec, we assume that a developer is creating a new system in which she has already included some libraries. In particular, the developer interacts with the system by sending a request for recommendation that contains a list of the libraries that are already included in the project the developer is working on. The data encoder collects background data from OSS project, represents them in a graph, which is then used as a base for other components of of Crossrec. The Similarity Calculator module computes similarities among projects to find the most similar one, a given one. The recommendation engine implements a collaborative filtering technique. It selects top K similar projects and performs computation to generate a ranked list of top N libraries. Finally, the recommendations are sent back to the developer. Moreover, we integrate Crossrec into Eclipse. The figure describes an explanatory scenario where a developer is improving a software project by replacing some existing source code with features provided by third-party libraries. The project under development is a command line tool written in Java that aims at supporting the automatic generation of cross-project migration dependency graphics. The Crossrec tool displays a list of third-party libraries currently being included and prompts a list of recommended libraries. The list of recommended libraries highlight the suggestion for using a logging library, for instance SL4J or Commons logging. We perform an empirical evaluation to compare the proposed approach with librec, libfinder, and libcap on 3 considerable ledger datasets. The experimental results show that Crossrec overcome the limitation of the baseline by recommending also libraries with a specific version. More important, it outperforms librec and libcap with respect to various quality metrics we consider. Thank you for your attention.
All right, and thank you, panelists, if you want to go ahead and be commenting on that paper.
Thanks. I really like this paper. I think it's so useful for developers to be able to find third-party libraries. There's so many out there, and now, all modern software is built on top of other software. So having something like this to help developers find these new libraries that are emerging is amazing.
Yes, I also think it's like in everyone's software developer's dream that we can have some intelligent assistant to recommend code for us. I think over the last few years, we have seen a lot of efforts and similar methods that are being used in different development environments and at different granularities, from variables, functions, APIs, library, and even to, web services. This paper, of course, focuses on recommending third-party libraries. And I feel like it will be good for the authors to explain both in the papers and the videos how their methods are compared with other type of recommender system for different granularities, and probably in the future how we can see if they can be actually complement to each other. Yeah.
Great, thanks. And one of the things we want to do in between in between talks is give you guys a chance to talk and brainstorm about issues that are relevant to us as software engineering researchers. One of them, of course, is teaching the software engineering course, which a lot of us do, because we are the software engineering person at our university. So one of the things I've been curious about lately is when you're teaching a software engineering course, do you have students create a new project, or do you have them kind of add to an existing project or contribute to an open source project, or what? How do you approach the software engineering course? We're talking about the kind of like third year software engineering course. So it's your time to shine. If you have any thoughts on, or if you want to share how you do this with everybody, go ahead and do it, and your answer will appear on the screen, as you can see, and we can kind of share how we work across universities and maybe get some ideas on how to do this even better. I am personally very curious about this, how you are dealing with this, because it's really a crucial issue for students as they get out in the field. I personally make students start a new project, but I'm definitely worried about the fact that when they go out into the field, they're going to have to deal with a legacy code base, and that's something that we haven't prepared them for as much as we kind of want to. That's something we're going to try and fix here in the next few years, but I was curious on what y'all were doing. We're getting some great answers here. All right, great. And I don't want to put us too far behind, so keep on putting those answers in, but I'm going to have to move on to the next video. Here we go. This one is a great video, and it is on global software development. Let's go.
We decided to do this research because efficient coordination is important to the success of complex projects when working in a distributed environment. The main contributions of our paper are an understanding of the challenges of scheduled and unscheduled meetings and how much time project members spend in meetings, and an understanding of how a collaboration tool such as Slack is used to coordinate. It's a mixed method study where we interviewed people, we observed people in meetings, and we also conducted a survey and we analyzed the chat logs. Slack supported the teams and their teamwork by increasing team awareness and transparency by supporting constant information sharing. It also increased the speed of feedback, and we saw that people received the responses very fast, and it facilitated network building, both internal in the team and also external networks in the project and in the company. It increased the awareness of who knows what, which is essential for high-performing teams. We also saw that Slack reduced the amount of emails. From our research, we can give some tips. Invite as few people as possible and make it clear whose participation is optional. The more participants, the shorter the time available for each to be active. If you are the facilitator of a meeting, try to be an active chairperson, address participants by name, and involve everybody who attends the meeting. Save time by arranging shorter meetings, and this will also make more time available for unplanned meetings. Status meetings should be avoided if possible, and they can be replaced by one-on-one meetings or brief written updates. We believe that this is a really important research area, and we will continue to investigate how people coordinate and communicate, and especially now when people are working from home. To learn more about how you can implement effective coordination in your company, go and read our paper, which is open access for everyone.
Wow, so best paper, best video, and really interesting topic. Take it away, panel.
Yes, indeed. This is 886 megabytes of video. I totally agree. This is one of our best paper, and I really enjoyed, this video narrated by Victoria. Well done. I think over the last couple of years, we all been Zoom bombed, and we all share the same experiences of how important it is that we can have a well-organized online meeting, and most importantly, not overrun. No one likes overrun meetings. And I appreciate the author's findings and suggestions on running this kind of very high quality online meetings. And if I may add another sentence that I have been using all the time when I was chairing the meeting, can we take this offline?
That's exactly right, Xiao. I think the authors should really take on the recommendation from the chat, and that's to add explosions and other sort of Hollywood effects to the video that can make it even better. So if you like the video, you should read the paper. It's a joy to read. And I would recommend to send this to the department heads of our respective universities and ask them to manage meetings based on these guidelines. They're really cool. One thing I found amazing is that this study is about global software development, right? But if you read the findings, they actually apply in all sorts of work, like academic research for sure, especially for this period of working at home.
All right. Thanks a lot, guys and gals. Now, speaking of videos with super high quality production value, here we go. We're going to have another 30-second interview, this time with another Alexander, who is also a great editor for our journal. Take it away, Alexander, and myself at another time.
Hey, this is Dave Shepard, and welcome to 30-Second Interviews. What is your name?
Alexander Srebrenik.
Name 3 JSS editors.
Kelly Blinko, Dan Damian, Patricia Lago.
What is your favorite title of a research paper?
Let's go for classics. The Secret Life of Bugs by Jorge Arante and Gina Vinolia.
What is the best research, advice, or talk that you have ever seen, and why?
Advice. You are an expert in your own research. I got it from my PhD advisor 20 years ago.
What is your favorite journal?
Sorry, JSS, my favorite journal.
Describe an exciting research project of yours.
Together with Reed Milevich and Dine, I'm trying to help LGBTIQ software developers. How? Improve the mentoring. More details to come.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Geez, those are even kind of short. They end before I am ready, even. All right. So next up, we're going to have the paper Building and Evaluating a Theory of Architectural Technical Debt in Software-Intensive Systems. Take it away.
Hello to everyone. I am Roberto Verdecchia. I'm going to present a research I conducted jointly with Philip Kuchen, Patricia Lago, and Ivano Malavolta. The research is titled Building and Evaluating a Theory of Architectural Technical Debt in Software-Intensive Systems. Just to provide you a brief idea of what architectural technical debt is, you can say it's a set of architectural design and implementation choices, such as choices regarding the structure of a software system, the technology used, the languages the system is implemented in, and so on and so forth. These choices are made early for expediency, but are preventing further development today. To put it in simpler words, it's the stuff that is very hard to change now while hurting us a lot. The goal of our study was to understand how practitioners conceptualize architectural technical debt. What are the essential concepts, and what's the relation between these concepts? In order to achieve our goal, we carried out a mixed method empirical study. In the first phase, we conducted a Brazilian grounded theory, and then we presented the emerging theory to industrial practitioners via focus groups in order to evaluate and refine our theory. This led us to formulate a theory of architectural technical debt, which synthesizes the recurrent themes into 9 core categories and 63 concepts and the relations between these concepts and categories. At the core of our theory lies architectural technical debt items. So how does architectural technical debt manifest itself in practice? Throughout the paper we made extensive use of quotes in order to provide the reader further examples and knowledge on how we achieved our findings. Another category of our theory are the causes. So what causes architectural technical debt? Here we see some prominent examples such as time pressure or simply the passing of time. Then we have consequences. What are the consequences if architectural technical debt is left unmanaged? Here we see carrying cost, higher risk exposure, or even completely crystallized architectures. Then we have the symptoms, which rather than being architectural technical debt items per se, symptoms can point to the presence of architectural technical debt items in a software system, especially if more symptoms co-occur. Then we have the management strategies. So how are architectural technical debt items managed in practice? Of course, people also play a key role in the development and maintenance of a software-intensive system. So people is also a category which emerged in our theory. And also people communicate between each other concepts related to architectural technical debt. Finally, our last category are the prioritization strategies, which in our theory do not follow an established methodology, but rather rely on the gut feeling of software developers and managers. This concludes my presentation. Thank you for your attention, and take care.
All right, and thank you so much, panel. What did you think about this paper?
Well, if the previous video had great cinematography, I think this had really great pictures in the slides, especially because it's pretty challenging to just present this huge framework for this paper. So I have to be honest, technical debt is my thing, and I've seen a lot of papers on technical debt that are simply mining software repositories using tools like SonarQube. I am myself guilty of the very same practice, and I think it's really refreshing to see a study that A, talks to people, practitioners, and B, deals with the architectural level of technical debt because that's where the pain lies. And this resulting grounded theory for me is really comprehensive. I could not find something missing there. And we really need this kind of theories to use as a common language. Otherwise, there's so much noise about technical debt that the metaphor is going to end up losing its value.
Yeah, that's great points, Paris. I really like to see the depth of this qualitative study, the grounded theory, and even just going back and talking in focus groups with more practitioners. You can just tell the amount of effort that went into this when you look at the theory that has emerged in all of the 63 concepts. And it's not something that you could get, like the people and the optimism bias and all of that. It just couldn't have emerged without really going and talking to developers. So it's great to see this research.
All right, thanks a lot, panel. Now, what I want to hear from you guys and gals right now is a little bit of what I'm missing from going to real conferences. So when I go to real conferences, it comes up naturally that like, hey, I saw this paper you might be interested in, and I don't get that anymore because I don't see anybody except for my kids and wife, basically. So what I want y'all to do now is to share the number one or number two paper that you think that other people should be aware of that's come out recently. We really just want to share, with the community, the favorite paper that's not yours that has come out recently that has really kind of changed the way you thought about stuff, or, just a really new and interesting topic. So go ahead and share, the title right here through Menti. And don't worry, people will be putting these in right as you can see them right now, but I'm going to share a link to this presentation at the end of the stream that you can go and review the presentation and all the answers at your leisure. So go ahead, think about it for just a couple of seconds and put out there what was your favorite paper that you've read maybe in the past 6 months or so that you think other people should be aware of. It's a great chance to knowledge share and, just do a little bit of that informal networking that we're all missing so much right now. Of course, feel free to just chat right there in YouTube as well. It's great that we're having an active chat. It almost feels like we're hanging out in real life. So, and that's something we all need at a time like this. All right, we're getting in some great answers. I'll give you just a few more seconds to get those answers in. And remember, I'm going to share a link to this presentation at the end so that you can review some of these things that people have presented. If you're not in Menti, you can also just put your answers in the chat. All right. Great answers. We're going to have to move on, though. And we are moving on to finding help with programming errors. This is from a graduate of my own alma mater, University of Delaware. Take it away.
Hi, I'm Preetha Chatterjee, and today I'm going to talk about our paper on novice software engineers' focus in Stack Overflow posts. The recent Stack Overflow survey shows that 40% participants are novice programmers, that is, people with less than 5 years of coding experience. Stack Overflow often contain long threads of discussion. A previous study suggests that reading answers of a popular Stack Overflow post could take up to 30 minutes. Because of this information overload, finding help from Stack Overflow is especially difficult for novice software engineers. Hence, we conducted an exploratory study to understand how novice software engineers direct their efforts and what kinds of information they focus on within a post. Specifically, our exploratory study involves investigating 2 research questions. To answer the first research question, we conducted a survey to gather novice software engineers' perception of what slows them down in their Stack Overflow usage. For the second research question, the software engineers first annotated 400 Stack Overflow posts to indicate what they would recommend to highlight to focus attention. Then we analyzed their annotations, to gain more insight into their recommendations. Findings from our first research question suggest that majority of the participants indicated the obstacles of too much text containing unnecessary details, followed by determining code segment relevance, and too much code containing unnecessary details. The results from the second research question discern the kinds of information prominent in the developer's focus. So for example, in the question, we find that the developer's goal or their intended outcome, the developer's pertinent action that led to the error, and the observed system response to the developer's action. In the answer, we can find the cause of the error, suggested approach to fix the error, and reason why the suggested solution would work. The results from this study can be leveraged to guide tools for mining forums and improve granularity of traceability mappings involving forum posts.
All right, and thank you so much, Preetha. Take it away, panel.
I really love this paper. Now that we're teaching full stack overflow developers is the term that I've heard. I think it's important to look into Stack Overflow and how we can help developers make better use of it. And so this study is really that first step in making it really useful, because now if we know what developers need from Stack Overflow, we can start developing and designing tools that can help make that information prominent. And so they don't have to look through lots and lots of information to find what they need.
Yep. Yeah, that's another paper on the use of Stack Overflow, which makes Stack Overflow a bit overflowed, I think. Just kidding. I really enjoyed reading this paper, and actually I believe the results also apply, like a first year programming student, when they ask questions, they send all those codes and a lot of things. I think it also tells us the truth that the ability to ask a good question is as important as answering it.
All right, thanks a lot, panel. Next up, we're going to meet another one of our editors. This is going to be Neil Ernst from the University of Victoria. Now, these 30-second interviews are supposed to be fast and, kind of uptight. You should feel some time pressure, but Neil, this guy is just too relaxed. So enjoy this unusually relaxed 30-second interview with Neil, one of our senior associate editors. And note how he is definitely not time pressured.
Hey, this is Dave Shepard, and welcome to 30-second interviews. What is your name?
My name's Neil Ernst. I'm from the University of Victoria in Canada.
Name 3 JSS editors.
3 other JSS editors that I know: Kelly Blinko from New Zealand, Dana Damian from my university in Victoria, and Patricia Lago from the Netherlands.
What is your favorite title of a research paper?
How program understanding tools affect how programmers understand programs.
What is the best research, advice, or talk that you have ever seen, and why?
Is to ignore what other people are doing. Don't worry about comparing yourself to them, and compare yourself to your own self.
What is your favorite journal?
My favorite journal, of course, is JSS. But my other current favorite journal is the Journal of Unpublished Results. I have lots of papers in that journal.
Describe an exciting research project of yours.
Looking at how people detect errors in computational notebooks. And there are 2 types of errors, at least. One is the usual software errors that you might have in your Python code. And the other type of errors would be like statistical errors and how you're applying the data mining or data science techniques.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, and thanks to Neil, who is impervious to pressure and chilled out under fire. We're going to go ahead and move to our next talk, the role of project manager in agile projects.
Hello to viewers of JSS Happy Hour. This is Yogeshwar Shastri, and I will be presenting on the role of the project manager in agile software development projects. The context of the study was the conflict between practitioner literature and what happens in the industry. So as per practitioner literature, agile teams are not meant to have project managers, but recurring industry surveys and our previous study has shown that the project manager does exist in agile projects. So what has happened, this has created a lot of ambiguity around the role of the project manager. So the core thrust of the study was to try and answer the question, what is the role of the project manager in agile projects? And to understand this, we adopted grounded theory with a mixed methods approach. We wanted the freedom to use both qualitative and quantitative data. So quantitative data was collected via 57 survey respondents and qualitative data via 39 face-to-face interviews. The key findings in the model which emerge from the data analysis has been visualized using the dimensions model from grounded theory. So we have got 4 dimensions to the project manager's role. A, the everyday activities performed, such as facilitating, mentoring, etc. B, the management approach is applied, hard, moderate, soft. C, the traditional project management activities performed, such as tracking project progress, budgeting, etc. And D, the influence of the project manager on the frequency with agile practices are performed, such as Scrum of Scrums, velocity, release planning, etc. And here's a snapshot of qualitative findings. So we have got one activity which is facilitating, and it has got sub activities such as clearing obstacles, increasing process efficiency, ensuring quality control. And the management approach applied to perform that activity ranges from moderate to hard. And a snapshot of quantitative findings. So for some practices, the frequency of the practice being performed goes up if the project manager is present, such as Scrum of Scrums meeting. There is a positive difference of almost 24%, project velocity, a positive difference of 15%. And we also found for certain practices, the frequency goes down if the project manager is present. So in conclusion, the key contribution of this study is the mixed data grounded theory on the role of the project manager with the 4 dimensions of the project manager's role: the everyday activities performed, the management approach is applied, the traditional project management activities performed, and influence of the project manager on agile practices. So we would like to thank the team at JSS for organizing the happy hour. And here are the links to access the paper and my email address as well. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. And panel, let us know what you think.
Yeah, I think this is a very interesting paper as they actually investigate the theoretical non-existent role of a project manager in an agile software development project. Well, I guess that's another story we can tell our students. Do not believe what you read in the book. I think the authors also, compare with the traditional role of project manager with the new roles of, for example, like Scrum Masters. And I think their findings will definitely help the project managers to better transit into this kind of new role of Scrum Masters to better support the self-organizing teams in agile development. Yeah, well done.
Yeah, that's quite right, Xiao. What I found a bit intriguing, let's say, is that usually we see a gap between academic literature and industry practice. Here we see a gap between practitioner literature and what happens in practice. So what I really appreciate that the authors did here is that they're addressing the elephant in the room. You know, there is a project manager in agile projects, and he or she is a key stakeholder in that project. And just a final comment, what I found intriguing in the paper is that some of the agile activities happen actually less frequently when a project manager is present. I think that's actually seems worthy of further investigation.
Thanks a lot, panel. And as we're switching over to the next presentation, we did want to get your feedback on JSS itself. As you know, if you've ever been to the happy hour before, we really like to hear from you, the people of JSS. This is a journal where people in the community are doing reviews, people in the community are submitting papers. We want to know, what else can we do to make JSS kind of work better for you, the community, and the people that are submitting and the people that are reviewing. We're always trying to make it better. For instance, adding ethics of SE into scope, that's a great suggestion. We'd love to hear any more suggestions if y'all have any, So feel free to let us know if you have any idea. It'd be really interesting to do 30-second papers. I don't know if that's even possible, but maybe we'll try it one day. Because imagine how many papers we could get through in an hour. Probably quite a few. Physical happy hours, absolutely. We should do that once the pandemic's over. We should have a physical happy hour. That would be a lot of fun, actually. YouTube playlist. Yeah, that is a great idea. See, this is why we open it up to y'all. We do like to hear from y'all because you always have good ideas. This would be a lot of fun, I think. This could be a lot of fun in person, eh? Yeah, I think this is a great idea. I understand all these suggestions. Thanks for your suggestions. All right, great. I don't want to dwell on this too long, but I'll give y'all just a few more seconds to get your suggestions in. We take these very seriously, and we will be going over these at our next meeting, which is, of course, every Monday. Me and Paris meet every Monday to discuss these kind of issues and other issues that come up with JSS, so we can, keep the journal moving forward as best we can. We put our two goatees together and think about these issues every Monday. All right, thanks for the suggestions. Some of these are great. Absolutely. Moving on to the next paper, which has a really cool video, Exploratory Testing in 3 minutes. Enjoy.
Products that are important in our everyday life often include large-scale and complex software systems. Development of these products often include a huge test effort. In several of the companies we work with as researchers, we identified a growing interest in exploratory testing and an interest to improve how exploratory testing is used in the companies. Based on this, we conducted a study to investigate how efficient and effective exploratory testing can be realized in industrial organizations. The contribution of the paper is twofold. First, we present results from interviews and workshops on how exploratory testing is used in large-scale industry projects. Second, we present a model that can be used in industry to optimize exploratory testing in each individual case. The research study was conducted in 5 steps. The first part of the study was focused on identifying a list of key factors that enable efficient and effective exploratory testing. In the second part, we developed the exit model and validated the model. The study included 6 companies, all in different industry segments, spanning from video surveillance systems to cars, communications, transport solutions, military aircraft, and solutions for pumps. In the first part of the study, we identified a list of key factors that enable efficient and effective exploratory testing of large-scale software systems. The list included 9 factors sorted into 4 themes. The second part of the study was focused on development of the exit model and validation of the model in 5 different validation cases. The exit model is a model that helps you find what you need to do in order to improve exploratory testing in your company. The validation received very positive feedback from the companies, with comments such as, "The 9 factors are spot on," or "very much information for very little effort." In this paper, we presented the exit model based on a set of key factors for efficient and effective exploratory testing. The model allows companies to identify and visualize strengths and improvement areas to optimize exploratory testing in each individual case. The validation of the exit model showed that the model is novel, actionable, and useful in practice. We believe that our work is valuable for researchers, but also for practitioners in industry, contributing to efficient development of important products.
All right, awesome video. Panel, go ahead and discuss.
Yeah, I think I like everyone. I like the start and the end of the video, even though I'm a little bit confused why they're showing this until I realize, they actually try to represent the industries of the case study companies. This paper has provided very important information to help researchers and practitioners to understand how exploratory testing is used in large-scale industry projects. Beside that, I found the paper is mandatory in how it is structured. Well, honestly speaking, normally I found it's very hard to follow those literature review plus interview papers because it's very lengthy. But this paper provides an excellent example. It's a good template for anyone who wants to write similar types of paper. So I strongly recommend you to look at the paper. Well done.
Yeah, that's right, Xiao. I think, at least as far as I'm concerned, any paper that involves jet fighters is awesome. So I have more of a meta comment, if I may, just to put back my hat as co-editor-in-chief. This is one of the papers from our in-practice track, and this is a track that targets particularly research done in collaboration with industry. So if you take a look at this specific paper, it's a great example for papers for this particular track because it shows how results of our research, software engineering research, not just have potential, but they actually impact industrial practice. So the companies that they worked with actually implemented the results into their daily practice. So please follow the example of Torvald and his colleagues and submit to the in-practice track, especially if you include jet fighters.
Great point, Paris. And so we've reached that point in our JSS Happy Hour where we want to hear even more from y'all. We want to take just a very brief tweet and chat break. If you are so inclined to use Twitter, go ahead and tweet your thoughts about the JSS Happy Hour. If you want to chat amongst yourselves, feel free to chat right here in the chat. Tom has just brought up a very good discussion point there. Maybe we should have videos instead of graphical abstracts. We want to just make sure that you're not just sitting there, doing your dishes, not paying attention. Get out there, make some noise, make sure you interact with some of the participants, and we'll be back in just about 30 seconds. So get out there, chat, tweet, let everybody know how much fun you're having at the happy hour. And then we'll be back on the regularly scheduled program here in just a few more seconds. I just want to make sure you have time to chat and tweet before I move on. It's a lot more fun, I find, to attend these things if you're involved in the chat, you talk to other people, you tweet at people. That's what I always tell my students when they're in virtual class. All right, hopefully you've had a chance to get out there and tweet or chat. We're going to go ahead and move on. Here we have another video on global software development. Check it out.
This research is a collaboration between 3 institutes, AUT in New Zealand, Lero in Ireland, and the University of Hertfordshire in the UK. So it spans across 2 continents, reflecting 2 case studies conducted with 2 global software development companies, both of whom were implementing different scaling agile frameworks, first being Scott Ambler's Disciplined Agile Delivery, DAD, and the second being Dean Leffingwell's Scaled Agile Framework, SAFE. So we ask in this study, do these scaling agile frameworks address global software development risks? We address this by taking a 3-phased approach. So first, we created a GSD risk catalogue from the literature, available as a technical report. Second, we mapped DAD and SAFE practices to the risks in our catalogue, which we deemed addressed each risk. And then lastly, to test our theory, we applied our mapping to a real-world setting to examine the extent to which the practices may have mitigated or eliminated the risks in our companies. So to answer our research question, the good news is yes, at least 2 of the scaling frameworks, according to our case studies, DAD and SAFE, largely address most of the software development risks in our global software development risk catalogue. There are some differences though from our study. The customer mandate risks are better served by SAFE. Execution risks are better served by DAD. Scope and requirements risks are served really well by both. And environmental risks are particularly problematic across both studies. So the One of the contributions is our new risk catalogue in a global software development setting. We now have a list of 63 risks divided into 4 quadrants. The quadrants showing a perceived importance of risk on one dimension and a level of control on the other. And environment risks are the ones that are causing the most problems in a GSD setting, with a perceived low level of control. And here are the list of those risks. So although the good news is that, yes, the scaling agile frameworks are addressing most of the risks we see, there is actually a risk tariff, we believe, in that there are certain risks that are still persistent, even with scaling agile framework implementations. Thank you very much, JSS, for inviting us to give this talk.
All right. Thank you, Sarah. Panel, take it away.
Okay, this paper, I really love the 3-phase approach that they've done. And I think it goes back to one of the earlier papers in that, practitioners don't always follow the process. And so this research methodology really helped to make sure that they not only understood what was prescribed, but also then they went and did case studies. And I think that that really gives extra depth to the research. And it's great to see that so many of the risks are handled by these methodologies, but there are some that are left, so there's still work to be done by the researchers in this community.
Yes, I totally agree, Katie. For this paper, I'm particularly interested in those new identified risks in the environment and execution category. As they actually involved a lot of its human culture and organizational factors, which is very related to human-centric software engineering. I think the results actually remind us, even now we're connected in this virtually connected world, but it breaks the constraints of time and space, but the barriers in the communication and collaboration are still out there, which is significant impact the success of global software development projects.
All right, thank you, panel. And again, we want to ask you just for a few bits of feedback so we can better, focus JSS on the new up and coming topics. And that's what we want to ask you about right now. What do you think are some upcoming hot topics in software engineering research? Maybe topics that we could have special issues on, or topics that we could seek out from among, software engineering researchers working in the area. Do you have any idea? What do you think are some upcoming hot topics in software engineering research? Get into Menti and put them in right there. Menti.com 97369373. Let me know if you got any thoughts. Looks like nobody has thoughts so far. As I would say to my class, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Human aspects is a great one. Thank you for that. Software engineering for cloud is interesting for sure. I think that's something we've been seeing more of lately. Let me know if you got any more ideas. There we go. Fairness. Let's see. SE for AI. Dependencies. Human aspects and AI projects. That's really interesting. Green technology and green AI. Inclusion issues for sure. Yeah, interdisciplinary projects. That's a good one. Software engineering in society. Quantum software engineering. Absolutely. That sounds interesting. Coordination is an important one, especially as we go more global and more working from home. All right, these are some great answers. Feel free to keep them coming in. We're going to have to move on. And I think we only have a little bit left. This might be our last presentation, so check it out. Here we go.
Hello everyone, I am Valentina Lenarduzzi from Elliott University in Finland, and today I'm very happy to present you our last paper accepted to JSS, where we investigated if code quality affect the pull request acceptance. Looking at the literature published in the domain of pull request, we discovered that quality was not so well investigated. Researchers mainly focus on such aspects related to quality, for example, testing, conformance, and good available documentation. But the other pull request related aspects considered were mainly focused on the review process, the review assignment, and the acceptance process, where they discovered that was mainly related to reputation of the developer that commit the pull request. Unfortunately, no study on quality flow and pull request acceptance were conducted before our study. So we decided to investigate if code quality affect the pull request acceptance, and we consider PMD issues, and specifically if PMD issues decrease the pull request acceptance. We consider 28 Java projects selected among the Apache Software Foundation that contains more than 36K pull requests that violated almost 5 million of coding issues. We selected and trained 6 machine learning classifiers where we determine if the PMD issues were responsible of the acceptance or rejected of the pull request. Then we manually validated almost 2,000 rejected and almost 2,000 accepted pull requests. Our results demonstrate that PMD issues do not appear to influence the pull request acceptance because we obtain an accuracy of the model in average near to 50%. Other possible reasons for acceptance could be developer reputation and the feature issues importance. In our future work, we mainly want to focus on this aspect, for example, asking the developer perception in the acceptance of the pull request, conducting survey, and interview, of course, the main actor in this process. Thank you very much for your attention.
All right, thank you very much. And panel, what do you have to say?
Okay, so maybe I can start. Maybe this is the last paper and you guys have not had your full attention, let's say, in this paper. It had a really cool and sort of surprising result. So let me recap the main message here. The quality of the code, at least in terms of code smells, in terms of security vulnerabilities or violations of coding standards, does not actually affect the acceptance of the pull request. Duh. So it turns out that maybe the reputation of the developer is more likely to have an effect on whether the pull request is accepted or not. I mean, can you see how biased this can be in terms of the pull request getting accepted? At least in my experience, I think that's why quality gates are important, so that we can actually enforce some kind of quality in pull requests.
Yeah, Paris, that's exactly what I was thinking. I mean, I think that these results show that we need to be able to do code review better, but also we need to make sure that projects are being inclusive so that we're able to, accept pull requests from people that we don't know, new contributors, but also that the senior members in the community are getting good reviews. So that would also be quite disheartening, I think, if you're a senior developer and all of your code is just getting added into the repository without review and you end up pushing bugs.
All right, thanks so much, panel, and thanks for that. That was our last presentation, but we do have one or two more things. Well, really just one more thing that we want to announce really quickly. As you might have seen on our blog, we have awarded MIP awards, Most Influential Paper Awards, to 4 papers from 10 years ago, and these are those papers. All 4 of these papers are Most Influential Paper Award winners. You've probably seen them on our blogs. You've been able to, go out there and clap for them and read them and all that kind of stuff. Now, what we did is we kind of put them out there, I think it was about a month ago now, and we've seen which ones have gotten the most attention and which ones have gotten kind of the most claps and the most traffic and all these kinds of things. And we have chosen one to be the grand prize winner the MIP Grand Champion from 10 years ago. But again, all of these are MIP papers, but this is just the MIP Grand Champion. And I'm happy to announce that it is, drum roll, it is this paper right here, Diversity, Adaptive Random Testing. Check out the blog post. I'm going to post these slides right after, but this is our winner of the MIP Grand Champion with over 1,600 claps on Medium, lots of comments, lots of discussion, and lots of traffic. This is our winner of the Grand Champion. But remember, JSS gets over 1,000 submissions per year, and these are the top 4 from 10 years ago. So all of these authors are big-time winners. Way to go. Check it out. I'm going to be sharing this link right here at the end. Actually, I did want to share the link to the paper in case you wanted to check it out. That is our MIP paper from 10 years ago. And I wanted to thank you. As we end this happy hour, this is the end of the happy hour. I'm going to put on some music and let us go out here in just a second. I'm sharing the link to this presentation, and y'all free to put any comments that you might have on the screen. They'll, through Menti, they'll show up on the screen. Say hi to your friends. This is your chance to be the star of the JSS Happy Hour. I hope y'all have enjoyed. And we're going to go ahead and get out of here. We really appreciate y'all joining us. Hold on a sec. We have a lot of fun. Thanks especially to the panelists, who have spent some time preparing, spent some time reading papers, and preparing great things to talk about. I hope y'all have a great night, great day, and we will see you next time.
I can't keep letting it slide. Thought that I would change, but I'm the same guy. Blamed it on my youth, but I know I've had time. And when it comes to you and I, all that I ever did was tell lies. Am I gonna keep this up till I die? Does it add up when you do the bad stuff? Time keeps moving past us. If they gon' shoot, then I pray they end up shooting past us. Temptations that I knew to pass up, but I didn't. When I said I love you, I really thought I meant it. Can I go to heaven? Is it time to put my bid in? I'm no longer a kid, I should probably quit the kidding and the playing. I wanna do the right thing, man, that's all I'm saying. I can't keep blaming entertainment and the money and the fame that I've been attaining as a reason for these girls that I'm entertaining. I can't keep letting it slide. Thought that I would change, but I'm the same guy. Blamed it on my youth, but I know I've had time. And when it comes to you and I, all that I ever did was tell lies. Am I gonna keep this up till I die? These are my confessions. Couldn't say it to you, so that's why I booked the session. The company I kept and I slept with kept me from being all alone with my reflection. Trust me now, I know that you a blessing. All these white lies are growing to life size. I don't wanna split, but I know it's the right time. You don't wanna look, but you know there's a bright side. If you got a feeling like mine, sing it like I can't keep letting it slide. Thought that I would change, but I'm the same guy. Blamed it on my youth, but I know I've had time. And when it comes to you and I, all that I ever did was tell lies. Am I gonna keep this up till I die?